And it happened. I have just pushed the code to one of the projects, and it's a really bad code. I think it breaks at least 2 rules, and I feel really bad now. So this episode is a bit of a therapy for myself, but maybe it will be useful for you too. So the thing here is that we use aggregates, the idea of aggregates. We also use event handlers and events, and we use Ruby. Ruby as a language has this concept of, as every language has this concept of public methods and private methods in objects, but in Ruby you can cheat. Ruby is such a dynamic language that you can call a method called send, which is kind of like this meta-programming method, and you can call a method which is private this way. So yeah, Ruby is dangerous. So what I did is I called a private method, which is one sin, but it was a private method which was a kind of an accessor, so a read method, a query method, which was an aggregate. And given that we do CQRS, the whole idea of CQRS is that we never use aggregates for reading. We only use it for making decisions for writing. So why did I implement it in such an ugly way? Well, first I didn't want to expose this this accessor, this query, so I want it to look bad. When someone looks at this code, it should be clear that I wrote a hack. So .send is clearly visible there, and I think every Ruby programmer knows that this is bad. So there is one hope that someone will see it. Second is that software development is a lot about learning, and mostly it's about learning 2 things. You learn the domain, like what is the business behind it, or how does it really works in the real world, and then you learn the existing code. Those are 2 things. Those 2 things should be directed in the same way. So your domain knowledge should be reflected in the code. It should be represented there. All diversion is problematic here. So what I learned today and realized today, this is right now a hypothesis, so I need to take some time to be sure that this is what is going on. I learned that some of the code doesn't really reflect the domain, and some shortcuts were made in the past I can understand that. So it's not that I'm blaming someone from the past. I can understand the decisions. Maybe I would do the same decisions. I'm not sure. But those hacks from the past, I've just realized about them. I didn't notice them before, that they are hacks, and they're not like huge hacks. It's not like very big, but changing this to be properly handled, as for my domain knowledge, would be a non-zero time, probably several hours actually. And the most important part is that I'm still like not 100% sure. And I talked to the domain expert, and we are waiting for another domain expert to make a decision like how this should be all implemented. So I don't want to make like costly decisions right now. So the hack that I introduced, so yet another hack on top of the existing hacks, is just a consequence now, and is I feel bad about it, but it sometimes happens this way. So it's more like to make things visible in the front end that I had to implement it this way. And at least we can, it enables us to discuss like how it should work, because then it's visible. Now, how usually I can hope that those hacks will be removed? Should I add a comment? I totally don't believe in code comments. It will be there together with the code forever. What else is possible? Should we like track the technical depth somewhere in a file or in the documentation? In the past, I liked this approach, but in the end, it never really means anything. So not there. I also don't like to put the technical depth in. This is a technical depth in the backlog. Backlog should be only about functional things. So it's better to like backlog should be about things that the business people understand and they can prioritize, and they don't understand usually like technical details. So not there. So my only hope after years of experience is that my only solution to this is that people should react when they see hack code, And I know this sounds bad because I just didn't react on the previous hacks, I just built on top of that. But I can promise you that in other places I very often fix the existing code, and I'm not worried about rebuilding, refactoring, and so on. So this is just another place where this is just one place where I didn't do such thing. So the only way for me is that people in the future, that I work with great people, with great teams, and people will react to this code, they will see this code, and once we have much better understanding of the domain and the code here, it will be much easier to fix. So I'm taking a debt which should be easier to pay off later than it is now, which sounds paradoxical, but it's sometimes true. So this is my hope. I have documented it in the Git commit message, so that's one place. I will document it in the ticket, so that's another place. I will try to make everyone aware that this is a hack and one day we should fix it. And that's all, and just hope for better in the future. Thanks for listening.